Hello, folks. Welcome to the Techthusiasm Live podcast. It's Monday, March 9th, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging out. I don't have quite the same blockbuster episode as last week with big news and stuff like that, but just kind of a regular hangout, check in on some things, muse on some stuff that kind of been going on over the last week or so, and yeah, and we'll have some fun. If folks have questions, comments, feedback, topics that you'd like to discuss as well, please drop them in the comments. Please hit the like button as well. I much always appreciate that. It's been a pretty light week. In, I would say, the tech overall, especially since the big news. So last week, of course, we talked all about the Trinoff upgrade pending and coming to the room here. It's going to be a little while, probably going to be into April, I think, before before the Trinoff gear would arrive, and we'll actually be able to go hands-on, start making content, learning, experimenting, setting things up, and all that. But my order is in, my place in line is secured, and now it's just a matter of like production time, lead time, order time, and whatnot for fulfillment. As I mentioned last week, of course, getting an altitude CI and an amplitude 16 amplifier. Going to do the audio over IP thing. Very likely to add another subwoofer. I actually had an extended thought on to last week's ideas as well. And something else I'm considering is possibly even taking the altitude to 18 channels and seeing if there's some way to uh, potentially use the 10-inch triad bronze in-wall subwoofers that came out of the living room upstairs when I did the Utopia upgrade. They haven't sold. I think those are going to be actually very hard to sell. I've dropped the price on them pretty considerably. Granted, I haven't actually advertised them on the channel recently, but in-wall subwoofers, I think are a very tough resale product to begin with. Let alone those subwoofers are pretty deep, so they don't actually fit in like regular 4-inch construction drywall. But I had a thought. I'm like, well, maybe what I could do is split the panels that are behind me here and kind of set those subwoofers like in the closet actually. And even there's shelves in that closet. I could set them on a couple of the shelves, and then in the Trinoff setup, treat them as basically waveforming absorbers. So I'd have an absorber on the far left, absorber on the far right, and then two 10-inch absorbers kind of stacked right behind me. And those would be a little bit elevated. They wouldn't be higher than the back of these chairs, but one of them would be one of them probably about almost the height of the chair, and then one below that. If I kind of put them on their sides, all I have to do is run speaker wire right around back to the rack, which is really easy to do. I could re-rack the rack amplifiers. I don't think I would use the amplifiers in the amplitude 16 for those, but I could, since I have them, I have the subwoofers and I have the external amplifiers, the rack amplifiers for them. Hey, if I can't sell them without basically giving them away, and I could use them for a couple more waveforming absorber locations, all in the back, or possibly even just put them put them close, like little near field 10-inch subwoofers or something. Like, I feel like I might be able to actually use them in a way that I didn't think I was. I wouldn't be using them in the system in its current setup with the AVM 90. So anyway, just a thought there. I might optimize. I'm actually going to have a visit. I have some folks coming in on Thursday of this week actually, and folks from Trinoff and the companies that I'm working with there. So it'll be fun. We'll kind of like meet, talk a bunch of business and whatnot. But I'll have the opportunity to kind of like go over the setup with them in person and basically say, here's my plan. Here's how I'm going to use it. Here's how we're going to configure certain things. And if the idea of using those extra subs in the configuration would actually add some value to the room, or add some value to the audio calibration, the waveforming performance, the bass performance, pretty good. If I did that and I got the extra sub, we'd actually be looking at like 7 subwoofers in here. Five box subwoofers, maybe get a fifth SB17, maybe go with go with the per listen. We'll see if one would fit adequately down in front. That would give me the 5 and then one in the back. Or I'm sorry, the 2 bronze, triads in the back would be 7 subs plus the 11 speakers, 18 channels essentially unlocked, um, on the Trinoff. So that was just some musings that I had as I as I was working out the other day, and the boxes for these triads are still kinda sitting here. And again, they haven't moved. If anybody does or could benefit from a pair of, 2 10-inch, bronze triad in-wall subwoofers, though, definitely reach out. I'd be happy to talk about them, and potentially let them go, but I might actually pursue that too hard until after Thursday. We'll have the conversation and see. I still actually have the pair of Focal IWLCR6s as well, what I have for the rear surrounds and the side surrounds in here now. If anybody's looking for an awesome pair of, Focal in-walls, I will bring the price down on those pretty considerably as well. They're sitting in my storage room and doing nothing, so I'd rather convert them back um, into some cash there. So, that's going on. It'll be interesting to see. I'll report back after this week into next Monday. Probably we'll have kind of a final determination of what exactly I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna set things up, what I may add or not to the configuration, based on the input, feedback, and dialogue and discussion. So, be fun to, see what comes out of that. Say hello to a few folks. Julius, hello. Srin, hello. Steven just popped in. Hello, hello. Lawless, welcome. Didn't realize Trinoff uses Dante until you said it. Pretty cool. Yep, yeah. The audio over IP, capability is there. You have to buy the Dante board for the Amplitude 16. And then the new Altitude CI comes with, multiple network ports to be able to, connect over into the Dante board on the Amplitude. So it'll be fun. I will be taking the AVM 90, and the NADs out probably this coming weekend. I think, unless I do it one weekday night, possibly next week. But I am confirmed, on the 21st. I'll be taking those to their new home and, essentially installing them, setting them up there. So we will be down. Probably might be down. This room might be down with no audio processing and no amplifiers for about a month, I would guess, maybe up to about a month maximum. Um, so, but I'm not too worried about that. We have some other things going on in the interim that will prevent really using the room too much anyway. And the living room is awesome. So, I'm totally happy to watch a movie up there as a stopgap or whatever. If in fact we want to do that. I do hope to get in here. Be nice to get in here before I do deinstall everything, or deinstall the audio equipment and try to finish up the Star Wars, Skywalker saga at least. We're still on episode 9, and we just can't get down here, to watch another movie. Been too busy with other things. We were we were busy watching all the Olympic coverage there for a while, and then, my daughter unfortunately took another hit to the face, playing soccer. Practice shot came at her real quick, didn't get her hands up, and so, we're back into, like, yet another concussion protocol, sequence. Not super serious, but just kind of being extra diligent and protective and whatnot. So, concussion protocol means no overwhelming, mental stimulation, which watching a movie on a 163-inch screen with maximum audio and video impact qualifies as qualifies as full brain and mental stimulation. So we're down on the movies. Um, and again, we've largely been watching. We've been even after the Olympics for a little while after they formally ended. We were still watching some of the coverage and stuff there. Now, though, it's gone. Actually, I've been done with the Olympics for a while. The family had wanted to continue watching some of the other events and stuff that we hadn't seen, and it's like, man, can we do something else? Can we pick back up on the Mandalorian? Can we get through the Star Wars shows or whatever? And everybody's like, no, we want to watch the Olympics. Well, we tried actually to watch the Olympics last night. Um, Again, as a low stimulation activity, and, they were gone. So they're gone from Peacock for forevermore. The 2026 Olympics have been removed from Peacock, but in its place now is the Paralympics. So we ended up watching that. I don't know that we'll stick to that for very, very long, though. It was interesting, though, and I mean, heck, if you think you overcame some challenges today, um, watching like vision impaired people ski racing down hills, or um, they actually had the folks that have lost legs or lost use of their legs with either a sitting or a standing configuration on skis. So watching the sitting configuration where they're actually using little mini skis with their hands to ski, and then they play hockey. The guys playing hockey, or it's actually co-ed, I think. Um, but the folks that don't have use of their legs playing hockey in the sleds with two sticks and basically using the sticks to both move on the ice, essentially skate by pushing with the sticks and then using the other end of the stick actually as hockey sticks. It's pretty wild. The US team was tearing it up, and they had like 50 shots. I forget who they were playing. It was Italy, US Italy in the Paralympics, and they won like 10-1. We started watching the first period, and like Italy scored right away. And then it's like, all right, we're just going to jump around between these events. Let's just go to the third period. So we go to the last like 5 minutes of the third period, and the US is winning like 10-1. And the shots were like 50-2. And so it's like, wow, we saw both of Italy's shots in the first few minutes. And literally the rest of this entire game, they haven't had another shot on goal. Um, but watching the guys basically they kind of pass to themselves with, since they have basically two hockey sticks, it's pretty wild. Then they can like pass to the other hand underneath their sled. I don't know what you call it, but the thing that they're sitting on, which does their skating. So we did some of that. We watched the curling as well. Basically they almost the same as kind of regular curling, but with a lot less of the brushing and the interactive activity. So it's a lot more about just the true ability to shoot, spin, and curl the stone down the ice. So all pretty impressive. We'll probably watch a little bit more, at least maybe one more time, because we didn't see any of the snowboarding. Curious how that works out, if they're actually doing tricks, because the skiing was all racing, not like jumping crazy tricks and stuff. Snowboarding, maybe just racing as well. Um, and there were a couple other events too, not quite as many, of course, as in the regular Olympics, but we have a little bit more to go with that. And then again, hopefully the daughter's recovered and we can get through some other content. My son and I, we've been watching some cartoons. We did finish up season 1 of Clone Wars, the original Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon, which was pretty good. I'm excited more, I think, about some of the future seasons that are coming. I think that show ratchets up its in its caliber and in its lore and all of that as you go. But 22 episodes a season is a lot of television content to get through. But we made it through season 1. We took a little detour. We watched the original like 1980, what was it, 89, I think it might have been, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 5 episode season 1, 5 episode story premiere of the Turtles. So we kind of cranked through that pretty quick. And then now I think we might jump over to X-Men 97. I've already watched that once myself, but man, that's probably one of the best shows I've watched in the last few years. And season 2 is coming, I think, sometime this year. So super excited about that. He and I are the only ones really into the cartoons, so we'll been jumping around into some of that. I've also been playing with the NAS. So the Ubiquiti NAS is now all set up. The Synology is deinstalled and shipped. Actually sold the Synology NAS. It's crazy what they were going for on eBay, but I sold the Synology NAS with, I left the network card inside, no hard drives, and I took the SSD out, of course, per the video. I moved the SSD drive over to the UNAS to use as a cache drive. And I did leave the RAM upgrade. So I did have 32 gig of RAM plus the 10G network card. But it sold for like 1100, I think. And the UNAS was 900 plus tax and whatnot. So after fees, after tax for the new purchase, and then the $13 for the SSD cache drive cage, and then $1,100, I think, give or take, minus, I think I lost a couple dollars on shipping, and then eBay fees, which are like a ridiculous 15% or whatever. I came out probably a little bit ahead, actually, to do this NAS side grade, but I'm digging it. And there was actually, I need to make the video now. There was a comment on either on my community post or on the video itself, the bigger video from last week, where I had like the UNAS install vlog, and somebody commented like, oh, like that uh, Unify, Unified Drive. I'm almost forgetting the name. The NASA's OS version 4 actually is out. So I did the check and was able to install that. So I've been playing with it a little bit. However, however, I had another failure mode. So um, the cloud local syncing feature that I was really looking forward to taking advantage of, uh, in order to connect to OneDrive in Unified Drive 4.0, only actually connects to OneDrive accounts that are like Office 365 business or education accounts. It doesn't actually link to a personal 365 account. Like, man, bummer. So I can't actually, I still, even with Unified Drive 4.0, I can't actually tie the the NAS to my OneDrive like I was hoping to be able to do. So it's just basically kind of sitting as a regular file server. I still have a little bit more things to do with it. I need to get my Infuse app on my Apple TVs kind of tied back into it, um, and be able to present basically the limited, relatively limited amount of ripped media and stuff that is actually resident on there. I did open up Infuse the other day and just went into the like network share section, and it did see the NAS, so I know it's there. The NAS is sharing via SMB, so I expected it to not be a problem. I'll just have to basically connect it, log in, username and password, and then point it to the folder and let it redo its indexing thing. And I realized as well, we actually were watching a couple, my son and I, again, the cartoons, we were watching some of the shows on in Infuse that I have stored on that NAS, some of the Japanese Transformers cartoons, stuff like that, that you pretty much like can't get anywhere anymore. And I wonder actually, oh, well, and is Infuse going to keep our watch history, or is the watch history tied to the specific server that it had indexed and parsed? Because I don't remember what episode we had left off on. Um, I don't remember what episode we had left off on actually on those shows. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires, in that regard. Oh, well, saying, yeah, permissions and passwords on my UNAS are a pain. Yeah, they definitely keep it secure, and you have to, like, the one thing I like about Synology is you could kind of you could make for a generic user. You just basically say, "Here's a user, here's a username, here's a password," and then you just use it. With the UNAS, it looks like if you wanna add a user, like, it's you don't just add a user like that. You have to, like, put in an email, um yeah, that's, yeah, no anonymous connections, right? So you have to put in an email, somebody has to, like, accept that, I think actually through the endpoint app or whatnot. So they have to really be a truly qualified person. So like I normally, like, for my Synology, my wife's computer, my kids' computers, they would all connect to the NAS, and we didn't really do anything with users. Like, we don't use user folder storage on the NAS, and the family doesn't keep stuff there because they keep it in their iCloud drives or their OneDrives or whatever. So I just had one, like, again, one anonymous user kind of, and everybody just logged in as that user to connect from all their computers, and it made it easy. But now to get the family connected, it's like, oh man, I'm actually probably going to have to either, like, set up a dummy email, use one of my secondary emails as a dummy, and then just everybody can log in as that, because I probably don't want them all logging in as me, just for this sake of, like, changing something from an admin perspective. Um, so I haven't actually figured that part out yet, or what I'm going to do exactly with that. But again, the NAS really only has three big file storage elements of it for me. One is a big log of family photos, and one is all of the assets and media for the channel, which I'm the only one that really needs access to that. And then the other is the media, again, the ripped media that's on the server, and the family doesn't need access to that independently. So, um, for the most part, what I need to do is continue the migration of family photos off of OneDrive over to iCloud, into our iCloud shared library, in the photos section of Apple, and then the family can just access all of the family photos there. They don't need the NAS for it. So actually, for the most part, the family might not even use the NAS. It might just really be me. So, so we'll see how that goes. Another thing though that I found, and this was a total pain. This is actually a pain of Synology, Answerin. It's why I never got the UNAS and have a Synology. loss, and I think there is a box local access you can check and uncheck to get around the email part. Okay, I'll have to check. I'll have to double check that. That would be nice if there's a way to um, to do that without having to jump through so many. I mean, it's good to have security, but qualified access on qualified computers that's internal to the home only can be relatively simplified, I think. But one thing that I didn't realize is like the Synology indexing of all your folders and files like leaves a lot of trash behind. Um, so I was trying to do like searches to eliminate a lot of stuff. Like every folder, every single folder um, of the file system from a Synology ends up with this hidden EA folder on it. And there's some other stuff as well. I was using Gemini to find out like, okay, tell me all the stuff. Once I saw that, I started navigating around the NAS. It's like, what are all these folders? It's like, oh crap, they're folders that were hidden on the Synology, but when I copied everything over, it copied them as well, and now they're not hidden. And this stuff is like polluting all my file space, and the UNAS doesn't need any of them. So I set about to kind of searching and a deleting, and I found a couple of other things that the UNAS actually needs. So if you log into the UNAS dashboard, you can access the file systems in the shared folders and stuff like that. You can navigate around in them. You can run searches for files and folders and stuff within them, but you don't have, or they haven't built in yet. I hope this comes very quickly, but they don't really have any file management actions available in the UNAS's interface. What I probably need to do is make like a, a like top three things I like about the UNAS, top three things I would like to see kind of changed or improved about it. That's probably a good video actually to make and put out there here pretty soon. Um, but like it would have been so easy just in the UNAS's UI to like search, okay, give me all the EA DIRs, select all, delete, boom, I'm done. But you can't do that. You can delete individual files and folders in the UNAS's like file browser, file system, but you can't do hardly any actions when you do a multi-select. It's like, why can you delete one, but I can't delete many when I select them all? Like, come on, guys. Like this is like fundamental. This is a NAS. If I can't log into the thing in the front end and do some uh, more advanced manipulations, that was a little bit weak, I think. So, so instead, now I have to do the searches on my computer. So now I'm like connecting essentially over the network rather than just being inside the NAS itself. The access is a little bit slower. There's a little more latency. And I really like Apple stuff. I use it for everything. I'm on a MacBook Pro 16-inch right now. I have an iPad Pro. I have an iPhone Pro Max. I have AirPods. We subscribe to the Apple services. I use the Apple TVs, everything, right? But for goodness' sake, like Finder is like the stupidest application on the Mac app platform. I'm going into rant territory here. Like Finder's ability to search a large file system and then actually with a lot of nested folders and structure and stuff to it, and then actually like allow you to interact with that in a performant way is absolute trash. Like you search, I try to point to like the root of my NAS folder where there's a lot of folders, a lot of structure, and just basically say, okay, search this for the EA DIRs, find them all, select all, delete. Why can't I just do this in Finder? It's no rainbow spinner, rainbow spinner, rainbow spinner, thinking, can't handle it. And it's like, Jesus Christ. This is terrible. So I actually ended up going into Windows in parallels using Windows File Explorer to search the NAS and delete the EA DIRs and the other hidden Synology stuff because Finder's just total trash at at managing any kind of like volume operation. And it amazes me that that's like even remotely possible in the Apple ecosystem. Like, how old is Mac OS? How old is Finder? Like, come on, guys. Um, I I was astounded. So, like, what should have been a 5-minute operation to find all this hidden Synology leftover uh, cruft and to delete it was like a half a day wasted of my time, both in terms of failing to be able to do it easily in the NAS UI itself, failing multiple search attempts, multiple search attempts in Finder to just find the stuff, select it, and delete it, and then finally going over to Windows and doing the operations like in Windows. So, man, that was uh, that was a pain, but it's done. So, and I, so if you move a bunch of files off of a Synology file system, just something to know or keep in mind or whatever, it leaves a lot of junk behind. Um, leaves a lot of junk behind, and so and it could be somewhat painful to eliminate all that junk. Um, yeah, Flash Gordon. Yeah, time to use terminal. Yep. Yeah, basically that probably would have worked better. macOS terminal Unix commands to find and delete the files. Yeah. Um, but I've had that problem before because like trying to move stuff around the NAS's, like even actually the data migration, Apple Mac Finder was terrible. Um, I had the UNAS set up and I had the new arrays built. Sorry for the camera stuff. I don't know why my camera is going so nutty today. Let me just keep my hands down. Um, I had the UNAS file folders built as the destination, ready to go. I just needed to copy files from the. I would just like to grab the root. Just let me grab the root of my folder structure and with all the hierarchy underneath it, copy it over to the UNAS. It should be one operation. Yeah, it might take a few hours or whatever, but man, Finder just can't do that stuff. It fails so bad. So um, I ended up actually going into the Synology, mounting the UNAS folder as as a shared folder drive or whatever, and then copying inside the Synology, migrating the data inside Synology from the Synology to the UNAS. And then that also prevented any issues of like my laptop going to sleep and breaking the file copy transfer, um, uh, because the NAS is just always on. It was going to fish it, and even that was kind of failure mode as well. Like the date, all of the large scale file management, data migration stuff has been it's just been annoying. It's been an annoying pain, but it's done now, and I think everything is kind of cleaned up. We'll see what future versions bring. I still like the general interface control operation. Again, I don't necessarily need my NAS to be a computer with its own operating system and all that stuff. So I'm okay with the more simplistic level of capability and operation and stuff that the UNAS has, but they still need to get some more. They still need to get some more basic capabilities made available, and implemented as well. So on some of these other comments, Stephen, try Alfred. Awesome Mac app for this. I'll check that out. It may be alternative file system manager, probably in the Mac App Store or something. So yeah, so that's been going on. Yeah, it's pretty much done. Still settling a few things. The migration from having my photos in OneDrive to iCloud is that's slow and arduous as well. It's like I get to just kind of go family, like folder event by folder event, copy them in, upload, put them in the shared library, grab the next one. And then for a while there, I was really starting to try to do more with it. Like I was adding tags and metadata to the photos. And in cases where they were like vacation photos, I was trying to set like locations and stuff on them because some of the Apple photo interface stuff is really cool. Like, hey, show me the map, show me where I've been, show me, and I can click there, tap there, and I can see all the photos like that we had from that location. Like the kids, if they want to see, like, okay, my son wants to see all of his fencing um, photos and videos that my wife took from his fencing classes or whatever. Boom, you could just search the tags and pull all of that stuff up. But so it's so arduous, and there's so much like our digital photos go all the way back to 2000. And so I started at the beginning and worked my way 2000, worked my way forward. Back then, we didn't take as many photos as we did after we ended up having kids and all that stuff. But then I'm like, oh man. And then my wife is like, you probably should start current and work backwards because those are probably the pictures that people want to reference more. So I did that, started what now, but I'm only like into like 2024. We have so many photos. It's ridiculous. I don't know if everybody else does this as well, but like, one soccer game, this is like, I don't even know, 1,000 photos. It's like, good lord. Like we probably need like 3 of these. Like 3 pictures of our daughter um making an interesting play in this one soccer game. And my wife just like click, 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 click. And then videos, they take my family, I swear to God, they take so many like 3-second videos. It's like, why did you take 3-second videos of like this leaf? Seriously. First world IT problems. But like, and then you go to delete it and they get mad at you. It's like, oh my God, like that picture of that frog that we saw in 2022. I really want that photo. Really need that photo. Ugh. All right. Lauren 8966. Any interest in front wides? In the room. Oh, probably going back to the talk of like using some extra channels. I mean, hey, if I could put front wides in here, I have the speakers. So if I was going to do it, I would do it because I already have the speakers. I have 2 more of these guys sitting in the boxes, but I really can't do wides in here. It doesn't. There's nowhere for them to go in the front wall, and I could come down the sidewall on the right side, but I can't do that on the left side because if I look like where my corner, like base traps and stuff end, I only have a foot, maybe, not even, before we hit before we hit the frame of the door. And then it's an extra wide double door, and then we're right into already the side of the couch. I suppose I could put, if I did wides, they would be like, what is that? Maybe they'd be like 4 feet in front of the surrounds. And then there'd be a bigger gap, whatever, probably 8 or 9 feet to the front wall. Um, conceivably, I could do that. I'd have to move panels. I have panels kind of where the wide speaker would go. I could just move those panels over, but I don't think they'd be any. I don't think they'd be in anywhere near the right spot to kind of do the job that they would do. Maddie saying, "How do you? I was thinking you should make some custom enclosures. Oh, make them near field for a couple of seats. Yeah, they might be hard to calibrate." Or maybe use them as mid-bass subs. Yeah, I don't think it'll be hard to calibrate because 'cause they'll basically, I mean, Trinoff will do all the stuff. They would just be 2 more subs in the Trinoff, um, in the Trinoff wizard and, or, optimization calibration system, and so whatever value they could provide, if they add a little bit of mid-bass, if they add a little bit of near field, or again, using waveforming, I'm guessing they may serve their most value being elevated absorbers, in the back, but we'll see what happens with them, and we'll see what the Treno folks maybe recommend for them, but again, they're sitting in the boxes, I might as well at this point, if I were to use them, I'd probably even pitch the boxes. My storage room is getting overloaded, um, with boxes. I was actually looking in there the other day, and it's like, man, I should probably almost pitch. I should probably start throwing out maybe these speaker boxes and stuff for all of these speakers. Like literally, almost a whole row of shelves is like focal boxes for these speakers, and like I don't know that these speakers are really going to come out of here and be resold. Um, So I should keep the boxes for the stuff that I think would be on an upgrade path, but I'm running out of space. So, man, if I do end up keeping the Triad sub and the amplifiers, I'll probably pitch the boxes, pitch all the stuff that goes with them, just keep the units, and then if I do ever deinstall them again and feel I have to sell them, I'll pretty much just end up giving them away on on Facebook Marketplace or something. But I've had them up for sale and nobody's bit at all, like, not even like an offer or to say, like, somebody kicking the tires or potentially interested in them. I've had a couple of folks message with some interest about the Focals. Actually, I thought they were actually sold. They were actually on hold for somebody for a little while, but then that person decided to go a different way, after all. Um, so we'll see. I just don't have another reason to use another set of those focals in there. So that's where, well, I could have diminished the need for one of them because I ended up buying another one to get to have 4 of them when I did this room, but it was also, like, 10 months later. I would have been missing a speaker position for, like, 10 months if I hadn't have bought the one and tried to keep the pair together. But in-walls are they're just so specific to somebody's needs, room setup and plan and all that stuff, so is what it is. Mandy Daddy, have you heard anything on what models TCL will be releasing yet, other than the X11L? Also, did you see the LG launch? I haven't really paid any attention to the TV news, honestly, in the last few weeks. Um, I haven't told anything. I was looking at, this week's pricing and stuff. Actually, yeah, because I texted you today. Um, and, like, the X11L isn't even in the price sheets yet that I've seen. So, I don't know what's happening in terms of the release. I guess coming out of CES, it wasn't actually like a full-on early year release. It was just kind of they got it in the hands of the reviewers and the content creators and stuff really quickly, but, at least the 98-inch, or actually any of the X11Ls for that matter, I haven't seen them in the price sheet yet. I did see that, like, FOMO and some of the TV guys were starting to make content about LG, and the LG models, and yeah, I'm not sure this they did a stream actually that was titled 2026 LG G6 OLED, Color Fiasco or Genius Move. I'm not sure how to even interpret how something could be either one of those 2 things, but I haven't had a chance to check in on what they were actually talking about. So I haven't seen anything. If somebody has a link, feel free to share it. We could take a look at it maybe here for a little bit, but I haven't looked. I actually had the inclination or had the thought that I need to reach out to LG, and talk to them because going back to when I made the decision last year, I had some conversation with them about collaborating a little bit more, um, but that was deferred off until, like, spring of this year, but now, hey, now it's springtime, so, um, I need to open up that dialogue again and see what maybe what may transpire with that. But we'll see. I'd still like to do some other television setup. We're still looking towards probably doing a 2026 model year television in the living room, but now I'm not too worried about how and when and if that will take place because I've already got the more immediate thing for the next few weeks or the next probably couple months is the migration towards Trinoff. And if I do end up putting an extra subwoofer in here and or potentially using the Triad, that's going to cost me a little bit more as well. Um, that's going to cost me a little bit more than I thought it was going to because when I ordered the Altitude, I ordered the 16. So I would have to pay to use the Triads. I'd have to pay for 2 more channels. But again, I'll find out. Hopefully, find out this week whether that would be super desirable or not. Srin saying you can order the 2026 models. I logged into my LG Partner Program account and I can order it now. Well, let's take a look. I can do that. I'm not going to share it, but let's see. I'm pretty sure that in the regular 2026 price sheet. Let's see, Z3, G5, C5, B5, soundbar. Yeah, there's no sixes. So there's no sixes in this one communication that I get usually on a weekly basis. Where am I looking? Oh, it's up here. Let's see. I can log into this one. Take a look. LGG6. Now let's try and do it like this. Just bear with me for a minute while I kind of click. Title. Let's go descending. Loading. Yeah, I don't see them. Um, looking at the 97s, I see G5, G4 listings. Yeah, I don't see listings for G6. Let me try one more spot. Shop. No, I'm not seeing anything yet. Let me just do a regular web search here. LGG6 OLED. And there it is on LG Electronics. What's the MSRP going to be? No, it didn't change. $24,999.99. 97-inch class LG OLED AI Evo AI G6 4K Smart TV 2026 with flush wall mount. Pre-order. Get extended warranty coverage with LG Premier 2-year plan for $1, valid through 3/13. So what are we looking at? Wow, $6,500 for the 83-inch G6, $4,500 for the 77. 25 grand. Still cool. 25 grand for the 97. So yeah, if there's any possibility of going that route, I need to do the research and see if I guess see what's what. But I'll probably wait a little bit anyway at this point, just because I like to kind of focus on one major change at a time. And I actually need to do. We got another home project that we need to do in the living room as well, part and parcel with some of the uh, redoing like the collection display things that I've been working on with my son. Um, we're gonna. I called the guy, same guy actually that did the rebuild of the TV wall upstairs. He's gonna come next week. I think next Wednesday. And hopefully get a quote, hopefully a nice low quote for a very, very basic job, to just plug a hole and do a little bit of drywall, a little bit of finishing. So we got that kind of going on as well. But yeah, I don't know. That G6, 97 G6 is a tall order. I think in many ways, we'll see what I can end up doing with it and what the kind of like LG dealer collaboration kind of thing may or may not turn into. But probably the X11L, feels like a more feels like a more likely likely outcome. But we'll see how things go. I've had some really good business engagements going on. I've still got like a handful of folks that I'm talking to for full systems, full speaker setups, multiple like kind of multiple full theater setups. I just need to have some of these kind of come through fully into fruition. I've been talking, debating speaker packages with folks, speaker brands, a lot of video display chain elements as well, screens and aspect ratios and lenses or not, and Mad VRs or not, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been fun. But if that revenue really starts to flow, it makes doing more things easier. So, but in any case, we'll get the Trent off in here. We'll get the subwoofer settled. Probably looking towards May for a showcase event. Um, got some other things depending on when the Trinoff hardware arrives and when everything actually is done and settled. Um, I have a little bit of a delay. Hopefully that happens, and I've got some other stuff going on that I'll need to attend to for a couple of weeks, and then after that, you kind of full steam ahead. This room will be reset once again, stable for a while to come, and then maybe then we'll go back to the TV thoughts for the summer, late spring, or, early summer, and try to do a showcase event, because once that's all done and the turn off and stuff is running here, I want to do another open house invitation event. It was really fun last November. Last one we did was in November. I'm kind of jonesing to do one now, but like, does it make sense to do one now and then do another one in a few weeks? So better to just wait until we have something definitive to show, and then from there maybe go to like a 3 month or 4 or 6 month type of cadence, something like that. So we'll see what happens. Um, Julius asking, are you keeping your living room Anthem STR? Right now, yeah, I don't have any plans to change that. Same with the MDX as well as the distribution amplifier. In the long run, if I migrate to some other things, away from Anthem, I the the default replacement for the MDX would be um, Ubiquity for the distribution amplifiers. They have, I forget what they call them, but they have basically a zonal amplifier, which is pretty nice. Supports AirPlay and the stuff that we would use it for. It would be just discreetly connected. Wouldn't have to go through Control 4 anymore, which would be kind of a nice side effect. It would cost a bit more because those amplifiers individually would add up. But then again, I don't need all 8 zones technically. I have speakers in here for a zone that I don't use anymore. Um, and I might even be able to tie a couple of zones together in parallel, like the porches outside, the front and the back porch. So um, that's a possibility. I don't really have any design intent um, changes for the audio system in the living room. That said, if I were to do something, it might be interesting to try an NAD. The NAD M66 still would be top of mind. Although I thought that I thought along the way I had seen some um, rougher feedback discussion going on around that unit. So as much as I like the amplifiers, I would have to do due diligence and check on kind of the stability, firmware state, and all of that of the M66, or potentially what I might even like for the living room would be like just to go to an integrated amplifier, 2-channel integrated amplifier, and cut 3 boxes down to 1. But I want really good room correction. This is actually, I kinda hope, I'm really kinda eager to see what happens at CEDIA this year, 'cause I'm hopeful. Again, this is, I have no information whatsoever. I'm not an Anthem dealer, let alone any especially connected to them or in any way. I just like the products personally a lot. But I'm like, to me, the STR line is the line that needs the update, the refresh next. It needs the web UI. It needs stuff that the MRX and the AVM lines don't need. So I hope that this is the year of the STR. And if they made a new STR integrated amp with, like, use some really really nice high power Class D modules and stuff. Oh man, I would I would probably swap over to that. Just one nice, simple integrated unit. I don't want like a big 200-pound, uh, like massive, um, uh, what am I trying to say? Um, like Class A, integrated amplifier, because racking that could be a challenge if it's too big and too heavy. Where I would like to keep it in my rack. So, but I would be all about consolidating into fewer devices. And again, I'm still very happy with the Anthem stuff. But at some point, so maybe after the reevaluating the sub situation in here, probably after the TV 2026 TV upgrade, and then as we get towards Cedia and we see what other products come out, maybe by the end of this year there could be something different happening in the living room audio side of things. But I'm not sure. Some of that might be based on some likelihood of that would be based on what may come out along the way. Well, all saying Sonos just came out with a 4-zone single rack mount unit as well. Nice, yeah. I mean, part of my reason for doing it would be, part of my reason for doing it, changing out the MDX would be, so I am migrating away from Anthem, um, in any respect, would be to integrate with a brand that I'm going heavy into, which would be Ubiquity. And I don't know if they have any plans to launch a new, I don't know if they would have any plans to launch a new, uh or add to the zonal amp audio distribution stuff. I have a local customer, actually a colleague of mine, um, that I've been got him set up with a basement home theater system. He's got a 85 QM8K in there. Ended up going with a Denon, I'm sorry, an Anthem MRX 740, I think we did. Um, and then folk house speakers and stuff, some SVS subwoofers, I need to get over there soon actually when he gets kind of everything fully ready to go and do the calibration and stuff. Um, I forgot why I brought this up. Oh, but he has a separate zone, for his bar. It's like a whole basement he's refinishing. So there's a separate area, bar area and stuff, and then an outside zone as well, like a walkout patio area. So there's two zonals, and I'm like, "Hey, grab those Ubiquiti, zonal amps, um, and use them." So anyway, if he ends up doing that, I'll be able to get my hands on those and, kinda see how they work, firsthand. Lossing. The Anthem multi-zone amp doesn't have native AirPlay. I think it does, but I have the way that I have it set up in Control 4 is we have 8 virtual AirPlay targets, and I don't think the, MDX does that, in the same way and presents them fully, like, consistently, stably as independent targets. So the Ubiquiti Zone Amp, each individual Zone Amp should be an AirPlay target on the network. And so if I ended up doing like effectively 6 zones or something like that, um, I would maintain the same usability. Like I don't want my family, what I don't want is I don't want my family to have to log into the interface of the Anthem MDX in order to route audio to certain zones. Because I think the MDX and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the MDX would be like an AirPlay target, but then you can link it internally to say, okay, we want to AirPlay to these 4 zones simultaneously. It's Halloween, we're passing out candy. We got Halloween music playing on the front porch, in the kitchen, maybe in the office as well, maybe in the downstairs play area if some of the kids are running around doing stuff in the basement. Um, I don't want I don't want I don't want anybody to have to log into the control interface of the MDX to do that. I want them to be able to just discreetly pick the zone right off of the AirPlay target menu that they wanna send it to, and I want that thing named kitchen, office, front porch, whatever, so that it's that easy for everybody to use. We get that with Control 4, but I don't think without Control 4 overlaid on top of the MDX, I don't think it would work that way. Um So that would be the value proposition of doing, independent zonal amps for each zone that we would wanna send the audio to. And again, I could cut zones, just let the speaker wire dangle because some zones just never get used. The I think we have a zone in the upstairs corner bedroom, which is our Lego room. My son plays Legos in there. Nothing ever gets played to those speakers. I don't think anything probably in 13 years of living here, I don't think anything is ever played on those speakers. My wife actually has a speaker zone in her crafting room, and she just never uses it. She walks in there with her phone, and she just plays it on the phone speaker, or she has her ear pods in or something. Um, Never use this zone because this room is the theater and it has its own audio. So, front porch, back porch, kitchen, and maybe the downstairs open play area. I sometimes when I'm working out, I'll play audio to that zone. Tonal, though, has built-in Apple Music, as well. They have their own music stuff, which is free, and some of those channels are actually pretty good. I was working out with my son yesterday, and it was like a classic rock, might have been '80s specific, but, like, they strung together some really good tunes. We were liking thumbing up a whole bunch of them in a row, and that stuff's just free with your Tonal subscription. But you can also, log in for Apple Music. So I have a gym playlist that I've curated for a decade now, and I can just play that natively on the Tonal. But sometimes, like, on the Tonal, you gotta balance the audio between the coach and the music, and when it's coming from the same point source, they can muddle together a little bit. So, if I wanna play the music louder but still be able to hear the coach, it when they're coming from the same spot, the music will drown out the coach. So I'll AirPlay to the speakers on the other side of the room, turn it up, fill the space with better sound, certainly way better sound than the tonal speakers and sound. But then I can also have the coach talking just from the machine directly. So I could get away with 4. I could cut the theater, I could cut the corner bedroom, I could cut the office, which I never use. I'm the one that sits in the office, and I never put sound on those speakers. I just have my earbuds in, my wired earbuds, and I'm sitting at my computer, and that's it. And then I could also cut the craft room probably. So I could turn the MDX out and just get 4 zone amps, and it would cover our actual needs. Um, yeah, so we'll see what happens, kinda as we go forward. Srin saying, "It's time for Anthem to show new hardware." Yeah, when Audio Control, Arkham, JBL showing new hardware, it's Anthem's turn. I just don't know what what would they do in an MRX or an AVM unit? Like, I don't know, like, some of the stuff that those units were supposed to get but didn't get, like, whatever the DTX Pro stuff that would have let them upmix to the wides, Oro, Rune. Like, do they need new hardware? Those should have all been software features, but I don't know. To some extent, they didn't all come. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what else does it need? Maybe there's some more calibration related stuff. There's things that they could do to advance in Arc Genesis in the room cal if the unit actually supported it as well, if it needed some hardware support. So I'm not sure. Our Mangoba Trinoff processor and amp, very alluring, very alluring. But for me, it seems very alluring, but I feel I would need to get speakers that cost at least as much as the Trinoff. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't buy a Trinoff probably because you're driving a couple $100 speakers, right? If you're gonna spend the money, you gotta keep systems in balance with each other. I'm at a point now where the Trinoff is in balance with the rest of the rest of this room. So with these focals and especially the Utopias running behind the screen there. That lawless man. Whoever thought you'd like Ubiquity so much really does unify the network. Yeah, they chose the name properly. They named the company properly. Um, yeah, I just like when everything is consistently, cohesively like together, right? I wouldn't if I had TVs all over my house, they would be the same brand, like similar brand, similar series. It's another reason I like the Wattbox stuff. Like Wattbox makes power management in a host of different form factors and capabilities, all cohesively in one ecosystem that I really dig. So that's a virtue to me is keeping things consistent. It's one of the reasons I've liked actually having 3 different Anthem things in my system that I had the 90 in here, the STR upstairs, and the MDX, MDX, whole home audio distribution, running Arc Genesis in every room. I know Arc Genesis very well. I can take that knowledge and apply it to each one. There's like it's a real embedded consistency, um, real accessible embedded consistency by picking stuff like that. Like Apple ecosystem, same thing. Give me a MacBook, give me an iPod, give me an iPhone, give me all this stuff that has cohesion as I switch between my devices, and I need to do different things. So Ubiquity is now fully realized that for me from like an infrastructure and like network technology perspective, and I really appreciate it. So if it's on the network and I can make it be them, I'm definitely gonna do that. Control 4 is kind of another one in a similar vein. Scrin saying, why not have it connected to C4 and let it manage the whole house audio? I'm not sure what you mean by have it connected. I have my whole house audio in Savant, so it makes it easy to use. Right now, my audio is connected in C4. So I have the MDX, but Control 4 controls the MDX, and my Core 5 controller has audio outputs that go from the Core 5 into the MDX's audio inputs. And so in my Control 4 setup, I have eight virtual AirPlay targets representing 8 different rooms of the house. So I grab my iPhone, I hit AirPlay, boom, instantly 8 different targets pop up representing those different rooms. When I tap one of those, like kitchen, Control 4 connects the AirPlay connection. So you're AirPlaying to the Control 4 controller. It turns on the MDX and it says, hey, MDX, for this speaker output, matrix it to this audio input. I think I actually have four audio connections between the Core 5 and the MDX. There's two coaxial audio connections and two like stereo RCA connections. So we can technically AirPlay to four different targets simultaneously because four independent signals can travel from the Core 5 to the MDX. And then you can matrix and stuff in between. You can AirPlay to multiple zones and whatnot. So yeah, so it's all running through there. That's how it's all running through there now. The other part of that, the other reason that we did it that way actually earlier on is because of like the doorbell features. And like if Control 4 wants to announce anything audibly to the household, it needs to go to a speaker. So like if before I did the Ubiquity stuff, we had a Control 4, we had a regular doorbell, just a contact sensor doorbell. That contact sensor was wired to like a relay port on the back of the Control 4 controller. So the Control 4 system was looking at that, constantly pulling that signal when that relay was closed. Control 4 knows that it's a Control 4 knows that that was the doorbell, and then in software, it played a chime out its audio output, which routed to the MDX and routed to certain speakers and stuff in the house. But that was honestly one of the worst reliable features of the Control 4 ecosystem that I've ever experienced. It would, I don't know if it's like a timing thing. It's like, there's a lot of moving parts. The Control 4 has to get you push the button, things have to be turned on, the signal has to be routed, the amps have to be turned on in order to make the sound. So I think sometimes things just didn't happen in the right sequencing. And so you'd get half a tone, you'd get no tone. Sometimes it would just flat out not work. To the point where for a long stretch of time, we literally had like a sticky note on our, on our doorbell. It's like, just knock, just knock. You can't use the doorbell, just knock. So that was one of the biggest pains that I wanted to eliminate from, or lack of reliability pains that I wanted to eliminate from the Control 4 setup. And the Ubiquity doorbell works every single time. So we have the doorbell and we have its own chime. I do need to get another doorbell chime or two, because one chime is not enough to hear the doorbell all through the house, upstairs, downstairs, and the main floor. Probably need a chime almost on each floor, or maybe just another chime here in the basement. But anyway, that works all the time. So it's like eliminating complexity. There's a lot of complexity just to get a doorbell working in Control 4. Ubiquity completely made that simple. And then the audio AirPlay structure, I think, would be further simplified as well by breaking the connection between the Control 4 and the MDX and just going to a handful of discrete zonal amplifiers there. So if Trinoff knocks the 90 out, Ubiquity knocks the MDX out, going back to Julius's comment earlier, I feel well, those two things happen, they fall like kind of dominoes. I'm not beholden to the STR, to sticking with Anthem in the living room. If another pathway or another option presents itself that's provocative or interesting, or seems to offer some other type of value, benefit, or whatnot. So I've used the Anthem stuff because I really, really like it. I think it's really, really great. I would be, I've liked it so much, like I have with most of the other brands that I represent, that I've tried to get accepted to basically be able to offer their equipment, and that hasn't worked out. So I wish that it had, but my call. Right, looking through some of the other comments here, and then we'll probably wrap up pretty soon. Sren saying, yeah, I use all 12 zones of audio in my home, and all the TVs are on a video matrix. Okay, so I use my in-ceiling speakers for audio. Yeah, that's cool. I like So for me, man, I'm after much more simplicity. Like I want my zones. I want fewer devices, fewer boxes, and as much simplicity as possible. I actually had it cross through my mind the other day. My son keeps asking me, like, I don't know what it is, but I feel lately, this is a topic for another full live stream discussion, but I feel like I'm not super interesting in uh like video games as much anymore. Just like there's just so many other things that I need to do, and I spend so much time on screens already that like I really like reading. I really like playing Marvel Champions with my son. Now it's going to get warmer. I'm going to push the family like, let's go biking. Let's get out, walk, whatever after dinner, get outside a little bit more, barring springtime when the allergies are going to totally annihilate me. Um, but like he keeps asking to play video games and just like, man, it feels so daunting to play a video game now. We're playing the Donkey Kong game on the Switch, and I've been impressed enough, so this is where I was thinking this. I've been impressed enough by the Switch 2 that, like, the Nintendo games are fun, they're lighter fare, um, I'm not looking for 50 hour, 70-hour, 100-hour video game experiences anymore. My son doesn't need a 50-hour, 70-hour, 100-hour video game experience anymore. I like the Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the beat 'em up. There's a He-Man game that's like a side scroller, pixel art beat 'em up coming soon. Like, that's enough video games for me, I think. And so it's like, man, maybe we should just dump out a PC gaming and just keep the Switch. And like that's all we need. But and so the other thing, again, trying to consolidate, trying to simplify, less devices, doing targeted things. So with the Trinoff change for the theater here, well, I could be adding more stuff in if I bring more subwoofers in, but from an audio processing perspective, I'm consolidating 3 boxes into 2, and for the living room, I could consolidate 3 boxes into 1 if the right option for a good integrated amplifier comes along. So, but I want good room correction, like, I want good, I keep touching this, I wanna make sure that I'm getting something good. I got another piece of tech another piece of tech on me as of today. So, continuous glucose monitor. I'm not diabetic, and I'm not on my way to being diabetic, but, I want the data. And, my doctor mentioned maybe your body's having a hard time processing certain, foods or carbs or whatnot. So, wear this for a couple of weeks and see what happens. I'm like, "Wait, you want me to put a piece of electronics on me so that I can actually, get real-time data about what's happening in my body?" Like, heck yeah, I'll do that. How many more can I plug in? Can I get real-time testosterone levels and everything else? Um, so I just finally got this thing hooked up to my phone, this morning, and now all day long, I'm, like, looking at it and, like, refreshing, like, what's my levels? Like, what if I have a banana? What if I, like, do some jumping jacks? Like, what's happening to my glucose levels? Julie, so you're still reaching out to Anthem about EQ in your living room subs? No, I tried to ask the questions, I never got a reply. So it's good the way it is. I'm confident with Anthem Arc Genesis, and I'm not pulling those speakers out to like change up any. I'm not right now anyway. Anytime soon. I've got enough work to do down here, taking stuff out, putting new stuff in, and everything else. And if I add a couple of subwoofers, add a few subwoofers to this room, I'm not touching the living room config. I'm actually going to have to take the screen down in here, pull all 3 of the Utopias out of this wall when the Trinoff comes because I'm not gonna do a bi-amping configuration. So, pulling in walls out is an arduous process, and, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it the way it is in the living room, and again, if I were to switch over to a 2-channel potential integrated amp solution, I wouldn't change the wiring because I would leave the Utopia subwoofers speak on connected to the Utopia speakers, so they are full range speakers, and then treat them and use them and EQ them, that way. So I don't think I care at the moment, but we'll see where we go again. More probably into the late summer, and then once we get to Cedia, we'll evolve what the future of the living room and how much tweaking I do on the audio system is there. So Trinoff home theater audio first, then probably living room 2026 TV upgrade second, and then living room audio processing optimization will come third. What Maddie's next question. Oh, does that free charge you text about apply to LG? It applies to any TV below a certain threshold. So I'm talking about the partner webpage. Can't really, I don't want to talk too much about that. But if people have access to like special partner pricing and whatnot, I don't want to bring that into this conversation. That's more of a dealer conversation. Srin saying, I connect my Apple Music account to Savant. So yeah, just select what I want to play, choose the rooms. Yep, makes it so easy. So easy. Oh, this is an MSRP. 97-inch G5 is down. Yeah, probably because now that the G6 is out, this Maddie and I we've been talking in the background about this because he was interested in buying a TV, and it's like the 2025 TV prices were here, then they actually started creeping up a bit again. We're kind of in that limbo period where like the 2026 models are coming, but they're not really here yet, and stock, the 2025 stuff really may not be in production anymore. So stock is kind of dwindling, but it's the only stock. So like those still need to sell. So I feel like there's this limbo period where the price on the older model actually starts to go up a little bit until we get close enough for critical mass and the 2026 stuff uh, becomes reality. And then the 2025 remaining stock will just kind of close out and discount. So not surprising if now the G6 is available, pre-order, shipping soon, etc. The 2025 LGs should start to drop a bit. Yeah. We were talking about those TVs. Speaking of speakers, did you see the news about the RTJ 24-inch coming soon? That's the stuff. Wait, RTJ 24. Is that the stuff that Scott Newby's putting in his house? Like 24 of those things, or is that I don't remember if that's if he's doing RTJ or JTRs 24s or whatnot. Um, yeah, lots of stuff. There's always lots of new stuff coming out. I wouldn't go for that. If I do another subwoofer, I'll put it in the front because I think again I want to talk to the guys on Thursday. It'll be really really interesting to see what the feedback is on Thursday. We'll talk about that next Monday's live stream. I'll kind of summarize the discussion, the conversation, and we'll talk about kind of where I ended up. But with the waveforming stuff, you kind of want emitters in the front, absorbers in the back. And so adding an emitter in the front, I think is desirable. Adding the triads in the back as absorbers, I think is also desirable, but we'll see what they recommend. I don't think I need a 24 though. Um, um, Actually, I can't in the front. I don't want anything bigger than about the size of the SB17 because anything much bigger than that goes into almost into my screen space or at least into my screen frame. And then in the back, again, I'd have to split these panels. There's 2 panels right behind me. You can kind of see the seam there actually. I could split those panels apart. You can see how much distance there is. Where's my finger? So over here. You can see how much distance there is between the panel and the speaker. So I could shift this panel over, open up just enough space to get something like a subwoofer back behind there. But I don't think like in Trinoff waveforming, I don't think that you want absorbers to be near field. Like ideally absorbers want to be high and open so that they can interact with the room in different ways. But this is all stuff that I need to talk to them about and figure out. And the other thing, actually, going back to the conversation, another really interesting thought that I still had, and I think I talked about this a little bit last week, is I believe that I could use a single Trinoff altitude CI and and the amplitude amplifier to um, drive both rooms with profile configuration and stuff done in a certain way. So I also want to talk with them about that on Thursday and see what is the reality of doing that. Are there deficiencies, inefficiencies, limitations that that would introduce that I'm overlooking if I were to consider doing that? But I believe it would work the way that I think it would. And if I can use Trinoff's optimizer to measure and calibrate both rooms off of one piece of hardware, man, that could be pretty cool. I don't think anybody else has tried to do something like that. Um, so so we'll see. Anyway, Steven saying Donkey Kong's been really fun. Yeah, I forget what it's called. The new one the Switch 2 game. But I'm really impressed with the Switch 2 for Nintendo games like stuff. Yeah, but Bonanza, not Bonanza, Bonanza. We haven't hardly played actually, but my son, he's like, Dad, let's play the game. I'm like, man, I'm tired. I don't know. Video games just they have a different flair for me at this moment in time than before. Um, and I don't know. Maybe it was like coming to the reality of the opportunity cost of that gaming PC. Um, Nowadays, although I'd be afraid to sell it. Like that's the kind of thing that somebody would probably shoot me for on Facebook Marketplace. So I don't know. Arm Go, but yeah, video games take so much investment in time. Last time I really played was Fortnite during the pandemic. Um, yeah, we played. I mean, we had a lot of fun playing Spider-Man. Um, Wolverine is coming, but it's going to be a year before that comes out on PC probably, and then that's going to be like really mature. So I'm not going to play that with my son for a while anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm beginning at this stage of life. Like I get enough enjoyment out of the Nintendo games, and the third party games that we would play are just the family 4 player, like the, Overcooked, Heave Ho, um, Moving Out, like those kinda games. All that stuff comes to the Nintendo Switch already. Greg Castiglione, 4763, new 30 terabyte drive on Kaleidoscape. Yeah, so with that's been around for a couple of weeks now. They optimized the sizes again. They continue to respond to the, like, parts challenges, the AI, that AI data centers and all that stuff is creating, the challenges for the SSDs and whatnot. So, in the K ecosystem right now, we're down to 4 teras. They're doing their best to keep the lineup with some levels and some options, but there's 4 teras. There's a 18 terabyte compact tera, and I hope I get these prices right. It's 8,000 MSRP. The 30 terabyte, I believe, is 12,000 MSRP. The 8 terabyte mini SSD is 10 grand now. That's gone up in price again. It was 6, then 8, now 10. And then there's only one larger tera, the 96 terabyte, and that thing's still like 30 grand. So we'll see how they continue to evolve over the course of the year. I would expect more changes, and optimizations and some shuffling as the year kind of goes on. So we'll see how things go. If anybody's interested in any of those, please definitely reach out. Be happy to get you hooked up. Mandy Day, GSG 24 flat pack build could be fun. Yeah, that the only place that could go would be right back in the back here. It'd be too big to fit in the front. Um, I'm just not interested in building it. Honestly, I'd rather just buy it and use it. Shrin, have you considered JL Audio subs? Not really. I don't know if I have any access to JL Audio in my distribution options and that. I've just been plenty happy with the SVS, and now I have access to per listen. So I'm kind of a little more inclined to want to try a per listen product, actually, if anything. Steven saying, yeah, that's what newbies putting in his theater, the 24 24s. um, so yeah, he's got some cool stuff going on. I need to find my way over to his place at some point in time. Steven, I think you can drive both rooms, but can you have 2 calibrations? It's my understanding you can only have 1 calibration for 1 room. But I believe that you calibrate for like per profile. Um, and I believe that the way that between the way the profiles works and selecting basically speakers for multi-channel versus like 2 channel and different profiles is that I think that those can be measured independently. And so the Trinoff won't know that essentially it's measuring different rooms. But I could be wrong. Like if it's the case that it just measures every speaker and you can use different speakers in combination with each other, then it may not work. But I think trying to use it for 2 rooms would be kind of spoofing the software a bit. But I think it might still work. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna bring it up when I talk to him. Um, when they visit on Thursday, and we'll see. I could be completely wrong, and honestly, I probably don't wanna do it anyway. I think it would introduce more limitations into the way things work around the house than not. Um, it may be complex to actually command and control it even through Control 4 appropriately. So, but I think it's a unique, idea anyway. So we'll see what happens. Man, yeah, I've heard the turn off multi-channel amplifier is really good. Yeah, plus great for the wiring. Yeah, one cable, one cable for 11 speakers between the CI and the Amplitude 16 with audio over IP is pretty awesome, I think. Yeah, Steven, it can drive the speakers, but can't calibrate two separate rooms unless it's new for the CI. Yeah, at least that's my understanding on the Altitude 16. Yeah, I again, I could be wrong. It was a little while back. I had the idea after I went for the first calibration training, um, and I started thinking about it. So I didn't get a chance to like ask about it, but I could just be I could be misremembering a couple of the particulars of how the profiles work. Hey, hi, Clear. Welcome, friend. Any interest in having two processors with one set of amps and speakers? I built a custom two input, one output 16 channel AB switch. Nice, that triggers it with my Savant automation system. Yeah. Yeah, I know there's options. I again, my whole thought behind it, the whole reason that that crossed my mind is about consolidation of boxes, and if I can take advantage of, like, the investment into some of this equipment and use it additionally, then, like, no matter what, if I'm watching something upstairs, I'm taking advantage of my Trinoff investment. If I'm watching something in the theater, I'm taking advantage of my Trinoff investment. That has a certain appeal to it. It certainly if it does work the way it possibly could, it would be mutually exclusive, but I think I'm also okay with that because our use cases don't often go into a situation where we're using the living room system and the theater, basement theater at the same time. But we'll see. I have a lot of questions, that are specific in particular to, like, my rooms and my setup and my plan. So, it's awesome that the opportunity to, um, engage directly and in person here came up. So, gonna make the most of that. Our main guy, I have a compact Terra. Oh, if I get a Terra Prime or compact Terra, how do the two Terras work in the same network? Do they appear as one? So if you have multiple servers in a Kaleidoscape system, yes, they seamlessly integrate together. The UI of movies that you see on your Strato players is the total summation of the content stored on all of the servers that are part of your system. Um, the integration of that, you basically just add the new server to the system, and everything's taken care of automatically in the back end by the Kaleidoscape software, and everything. It doesn't matter if it's a mix of primes and non-primes or whatever, whatever it may be. The only thing that they generally recommend is there's a limit to how many servers you wanna have in one system, which I think is 5, if I recall correctly, just because then every time the Strato has to interact, it has to interact with too many things on the network to pull the data, display the movies, and stuff like that. Um, so if you if you want to add storage to a Kaleidoscape system, you basically have a choice, and you already have a server, you have a choice. You could sell the old server and buy into a bigger one, or you could buy another server and continue to use your existing one, plus the new one. I've seen people do both. I've usually been when I've gone bigger, I've sold my old one and bought into a new one. When I went from my 24 to the 48, I sold the 24 to get the 48. And if another size opportunity comes up, I would do the same thing. I'd go to the 96 from the 48 and I would replace it, basically selling the other one to fund fund into the new one. But all right, it's 6:24. That was fun. A lot of good questions, a lot of good discussion, fun hangout. But I'm gonna go grab some dinner. The family's waiting, and yeah, it'll be a fun week ahead. So I'll have a lot to talk about next Monday for sure. And then yeah, marching closer to a lot of stuff happening. When next we talk again, I'll come back with some more Trinoff musings, system optimization options and corroborations if some of my crazy ideas are feasible or are they not feasible. Um, Possibly by then I'll have might have the existing equipment pulled out. Um, I have the existing equipment pulled out the 21st. That won't be next Monday. The Monday after, we'll be doing setup in a home theater, so that'll be fun. So yeah, some cool stuff to talk about in the weeks ahead. And then I got some other things going on. Yeah, just always stuff going on. We're still working on the web page, trying to get more gear listings and stuff up. I want to get the Mad VR stuff listed. I can say I'm official with them, so folks looking for Mad VR, I've got that now too. Um, yeah, just many things going on. Maddie, oh yes, two Perlis and D15s. Well, hold on now. It'd be really cool to see a comparison of D15s or R18s with the SB17s. Yeah, I don't think I would do the D15. It's too big. Um, I think it's too big. Again, what I'm looking for is one subwoofer that would fit in the middle front of the room, and I think the R18 might be what I could do. Um, that might actually be a little big as well. So I don't know. I might just end up doing another SB17, but we'll see. Hockey player. Maybe you can ask Kay about this. I have two Strato Vs and my Terra 96 drive me nuts that I lose 2 TB of storage on the Vs. Yeah, I don't think that's changing anytime soon, though, unfortunately. Um, yeah, the internal storage on players is disabled when a server is added to the mix. So, all right, folks are dropping off. I'm dropping off. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks, Julius. Thanks to all the regulars, all the friends, and the other folks that tuned in to hang out. Much appreciated. If I can help anybody with any of your stuff, any of your needs and whatnot, please reach out. Go to the webpage, get in touch, email, etc. And yeah, we'll be back next week to have some more fun, hang out, and talk some more home theater. Coming back for more home theater discussion for that discussion and fun. Thanks.